looking out your bedroom window and seeing it rain bright, shiny rubies and sapphires instead of water. You'd probably think you just became the richest person on Earth, but if you actually stepped outside to grab them, you'd be instantly shredded by winds blowing at tens of thousands of miles per hour. To understand how extreme the universe can get, think of planet formation. Like baking a cake in a highly unpredictable oven that randomly changes its temperature, throws rocks at the pan, and occasionally shoots out laser beams. Sometimes the cake comes out perfectly fine like Earth, but other times you end up with a terrifying deformed disaster that completely defies our standard laws of physics. Now you might be thinking that space is just mostly cold and empty, but let's take a look at a world known as LHS 1140b. This rocky planet is almost completely frozen solid, but the side permanently facing its star has a massive, melted ocean right in the dead center, making it look exactly like a giant staring eyeball. But here is where it gets weird, because the weather on some of these planets is even more nightmarish than their unsettling looks. On the giant gas planet WASP 121b, the extreme heat difference between the day and night sides creates violent storms where metal gases cool down and literally rain droplets of liquid rubies and sapphires. If you prefer the color blue, there is HD189733b, which from space looks like a beautiful, peaceful deep blue marble, very similar to Earth. However, that beautiful blue color actually comes from an atmosphere filled with silicate, meaning it rains molten liquid glass sideways at 5,400 miles per hour, while the entire planet reeks of rotten eggs. Now you might be thinking you could just hide underground to survive. But on Gliese 876d, the ground itself is your biggest enemy. This planet is trapped in a massive gravitational pulling contest between its own sun and giant gas planets nearby, constantly stretching and squishing the world like a giant rubber ball. Because its hard rocky surface is constantly being bent and broken by this extreme pulling, the inside is kept completely melted. This creates a world of non-stop, massive earthquakes, and it is known as the Endless Volcano because the ground is constantly flooded with hot, melted rock erupting under a dark red sky. Now, some planets aren't just tortured by gravity. They are actively being eaten alive by it. WASP 12. B is so unbelievably close to its star that the star's gravity physically pulls the planet into a rugby ball shape while actively ripping its atmosphere away into space. It is a gas giant that is completely pitch black, reflecting at most about 6% of the light that reaches it, and temperatures rise to a scorching 4,700 degrees Fahrenheit on its day side. The planet is quite literally spiraling inward, and scientists estimate it has only a few million years left before it is entirely swallowed and destroyed by its own sun. But here is truly the most metal thing you will ever hear about space, quite literally. TOI-1853b is a planet the size of Neptune, but it is completely solid and made almost entirely of heavy metals, likely because a violent space crash splashed all its water and gas off into the void. Then we have 55 Cancri E, where one side always faces its star, creating a massive global ocean of boiling liquid rock. The extreme heat causes the magma ocean to evaporate into the sky as a thick gas, which then blows over to the freezing night side and rains down as solid stone. Finally, if you somehow manage to stand safely on some of these worlds, the sky above you would drive you completely insane. On PSRB 1620-26b, an incredibly ancient planet sitting deep inside a tightly packed group of stars, the sky is a bright, crowded wall of hundreds of thousands of stars, meaning there is absolutely no night. Alternatively, on a planet named J1407b, known as Super Saturn, the rings are actually 200 times larger than our Saturn's rings. If you were on a moon orbiting this massive object, those colossal rings would block out the sun entirely, plunging you into freezing total darkness for 56 days in a row. Our universe isn't just a collection of peaceful floating marbles. It is a chaotic, extreme laboratory where the laws of nature are pushed to their absolute and terrifying limits.